Building FLN outcomes at scale using structured pedagogy. Let's get into the module number 3, which is implementing effective structured pedagogy programs at scale. In this module, we will learn how structured pedagogy was implemented at scale, looking at a case study from a state in India of Telangana, where Central Square Foundation works in supporting the state governments in their FLN program. In this, we will understand how the need for change or the why of change was created, how we leverage system diagnostic or a short assessment study to create that need, and after the need was created, how the program components came into being and the details of the what and how through a Central Square Foundation's four-pillar approach and theory of change for FLN, in which we will go into details of pillar 1, which is goal setting and communication, pillar number 2, which is the whole structured pedagogy approach for academic design and implementation, pillar number 3, which is system capacity building, and pillar number 4, which is FLN governance and data. Let's dive in. Central Square Foundation is one of India's leading education organizations, and we work across 11 states of India. We've been there for the last 12 years. We have now close to more than 180 employees, and we support the state governments in running outcome-oriented FLN programs, which the states have run after the implementation of Nipun Bharat, which is the nationally supported scheme for FLN in India. Let us understand how the team went about creating the need for change in the state of Telangana. Well, the wake-up call came in the form of student learning levels, which were really low. At least in the National Achievement Survey, which was conducted in 2021, Telangana, in comparison with other states of the country, was in the bottom 5 half. And that really served as a wake-up call for the state, where they realized that only 49% of their children in class 3 can read small text with comprehension, and only 40% of children can use basic math to solve daily life problems. While this was in itself a matter of concern, the state government wanted to understand these issues on their own, and that is a very important aspect where the system feels that it needs to understand the issues and the problems, and for this undertakes a diagnostic exercise along with the support of technical partners such as Central Square Foundation. So we supported the state government in conducting a large statewide learning achievement survey where they wanted to understand the current learning levels of children across a variety of FLN competencies on literacy and numeracy and where the children stand today. And they wanted to do it in fair amount of detail by capturing not only how many students are competent or at grade level, but how many are non-readers or not able to solve a single mathematics problem. So we supported the state government in conducting this fairly robust assessment exercise, which spanned all the districts, and ultimately results were available at the state level and also at district level in fair amount of detail for the state to use. To ensure that the state has confidence in the data collection and the robustness of the data, we also engaged a reputed third party to conduct a retesting exercise, which proved beyond doubt that the data was indeed reliable and could be taken upon for action and planning on the academic and administrative fronts. This really served as a wake-up call and got the state to think that yes, our education system is in a state of emergency and we need to do something about it. We supported the state government to design an FLN program with few critical pillars such as the goal setting and communication, structured pedagogy approach, system capacity building, and FLN governance and data, through which the state wanted to improve the percentage of children who are currently at the grade level in a systematic manner. So yeah, if you look at the goal setting and communication, the immediate priority was to set goals basis the current baseline study, have them communicated to a wide range of stakeholders so that all stakeholders understand and articulate the goals, and the system is aligned to learning goals, which is very, very important. Then, on the academic side, the structured pedagogy approach had to be implemented by first getting the right amount of tools, the right amount of teaching learning materials, techniques, and trainings made available, which then translates to improved instructional practice in classroom and effective use of teaching learning material, which ultimately improves the teaching learning at schools. System capacity building is the third and important pillar in which mentors provide support to the teachers in implementing the FLN pedagogy and using the teaching learning materials in classrooms. And finally, for these things to work at scale, the monitoring system in the state has to be set up, governance mechanism has to be set up in which people are reviewing the implementation and progress at a periodic level and able to take data-based decisions to improve the system performance. Starting with the first pillar of goal setting and communication, after the results of the baseline were available, critical competencies among them were selected for goal setting at district as well as state level. And after the goals were set, they were communicated to a wider set of stakeholders so that everybody, starting from the teachers to the district education leaders to the state, is clear that these are the goals that we are targeting and working towards. In the structured pedagogy approach, it was very important to start by first aligning the state on a different approach to pedagogy and teaching learning process for the early grades, which takes a structured pedagogy approach to teaching learning, and the state anchors this structured pedagogy approach on a learning outcome framework, which was developed in consultation with the state. The state then set up the subject-specific teacher resource groups, which were actually consisted of teachers who were from the system and teaching in the primary grades to create materials for use, which included a teacher guide for teachers and student workbooks for students. While it happened in a very slow, organic, and iterative process, where in the first year, sample lesson plans were just created to take feedback of the teachers and gauge the acceptability and usefulness of these materials among the teachers. And after that was found useful, the same group of teachers were engaged to create a whole set of materials for all the learning outcomes for the entire academic year in the next academic year. The same resource group which created the materials were also leveraged to provide trainings to all the teachers on how to use these materials effectively to transact the classrooms in a better manner. And the current thinking and the progress here has been that after the face-to-face trainings were imparted, it was realized that we need to make this professional development a continuous process, which is based on the needs of the teachers, and the training material and the training contents is aligned for the specific needs. And we have a cadre of good resource persons and trainers who can deliver these trainings. And we use technology to support the training of the teachers in a both blended manner using online and offline, uh, so that we are able to track the progress of the teachers, do some assessments, and check their progress in these different topics. The third important pillar is the system capacity building, and the objective was to provide supportive supervision to the teachers in the schools. And for this, a cadre was created out of the existing resources or the middle management officers in the district to provide almost like a pyramid of accountability, where a cluster, which is a set of 10 to 15 schools, and above that, a sub-district level and at district level, senior officers are regularly visiting schools, not just to inspect the schools or per se conduct a school visit, but sit down in the classrooms, conduct a classroom observation, observe the teaching learning process, do spot assessments of children, and then provide the feedback with a teacher. And ultimately, at a system level, We wanted to understand these basic questions through this process. And this was a felt need of the system actors, that are the teachers clear on the teaching learning processes? Has the teaching learning practices in classrooms improved by the implementation of the program, which includes provision of TLMs and teaching and different kind of pedagogy? Are students learning better as a result of these inputs? And are the mentors effective in providing feedback and support to the teachers? So for this, the state leveraged technology, and there was a master app which created, and this app ensured that information is collected not just on the inputs and resources being provided, but also on some of the outcomes, all the way up to the student learning outcomes, and also in terms of teacher outcomes of better teaching and learning. And the app also enables various kinds of reports, dashboards, and progress cards for review at different levels. While we started with collating a set of information for the state at different levels, it soon transitioned and built demand in the districts and other senior stakeholders to have the data available for them. And ultimately, the system transitioned to a state system in which the state was collecting, collating, cleaning, and sharing data about different key performance indicators about the FLN program. And these were being reviewed at periodic level at the district and the state level. So we learned through this process that change is an iterative process, and it is not an event. One has to keep providing inputs and checking for implementation and then iterating and feeding back into the design. While the entire state change takes place in individuals before processes, institutions, and organizations, it is important to engage a set of key stakeholders and champions before the change process diffuses to other members in the organization. And we realize that people do come on board or implement change more effectively if they are engaged in the why, and they're clear on the what, and are supported on the how of the change process. And if change is imminent, if it comes as an effort of the state actors to solve for felt problems or challenges that they feel, as opposed to a solution driven approach. So, in summary, we learned the structured pedagogy implementation at scale as a case study from Telangana, where we looked at how the need for change was created and supported through data, and then how taking a four pillar approach of focusing on few clear change pathways, such as of setting goals for learning and communicating about them. Pillar two, taking a structured pedagogy approach for teaching learning in terms of having the right tools, techniques, and training available to teachers, building capacity of the entire system to support the teachers and the schools in adopting the structured pedagogy and delivering the structured pedagogy, and pillar four, which is the governance and data, so that the entire system can keep track and support the implementation at scale, is also very, very critical. Thank you.